When people hear the title, The Lazy Millionaire, they usually imagine someone getting rich without effort, without discipline, and without doing anything at all. But that is not the real meaning. The true meaning of being a lazy millionaire is not about avoiding work forever. It is about avoiding unnecessary struggle. It is about building a financial life that works for you, even when you are not working every single hour of the day. Most people are trapped in a cycle. They work hard. They earn money. They spend most of it. And then they repeat the same process every month. Their income may grow a little, but their expenses grow too. They stay busy, but they do not move forward. They are active, exhausted, and constantly chasing money. The problem is not that they are lazy. The problem is that their money is not working with them. The central idea of this book is the power of compounding. Compounding is one of the simplest but most powerful financial concepts in the world. It means that small amounts grow over time. And then the growth itself starts to grow. In the beginning, the results look slow, almost invisible, sometimes even disappointing. But after enough time, the numbers start to accelerate. That is when compounding becomes life-changing. Think of a tree. It's the first day, it is just a seed. After a short time, it becomes a tiny plant. For a long time, it does not look impressive. But if you keep watering it, protecting it, and giving it time, it grows into something much bigger than the seed ever suggested. Money works in a similar way. A small amount invested regularly may not seem important at first, but over years and especially over decades, it can grow into something surprisingly large. This is where most people fail. They underestimate small beginnings. They think they need a huge salary, a lucky break, or a perfect investment opportunity before they start. They believe wealth belongs only to people who already have money. But compounding rewards consistency more than brilliance. It does not ask whether you started big. It asks whether you started at all and whether you kept going. The lazy person in this philosophy is the one who understands leverage. Instead of trading all their time for money forever, they create systems. They save automatically. They invest regularly. They reduce bad spending habits. And they allow time to do the heavy lifting. They are not lazy in the usual sense. They are smart enough to stop doing things the hard way. There is also a strong psychological lesson here. Many people think wealth is created through one dramatic moment, a successful business, a viral idea, a sudden promotion, or a lucky trade. But in reality, most sustainable wealth is built slowly, quietly, repeatedly. The world celebrates dramatic success stories, but compounding is often invisible while it is happening. That is why patient people often win, while impatient people keep starting over. The power of compounding does not only apply to money, it also applies to habits, skills, health, reputation, and knowledge. If you read 10 pages every day, that compounds. If you learn one useful skill every month, that compounds. If you save a small amount every week, that compounds. Small actions, repeated over time, create massive differences between two people who may have started in the same place. One person spends every extra dollar. Another person saves and invests a portion. At first, both lives look similar. After 1 year, the difference may still look small. But after 10 or 20 years, the gap can become enormous. Not because one person was a genius, but because one person respected the power of time. That is the first major lesson of The Lazy Millionaire. Wealth is not only about effort, It is about direction. It is about whether your daily actions are building something that grows without constant supervision. The dream is not to work harder forever. The dream is to build a machine, little by little, that keeps moving even when you step away. So if you feel behind, do not focus on becoming rich overnight. Focus on becoming consistent. Focus on learning the rules of compounding. Focus on planting the seed. Because the biggest financial mistake is not starting small. The biggest financial mistake is waiting too long to start. If compounding is so powerful, then why do most people never truly benefit from it? The answer is simple. Because compounding requires patience, discipline, and trust in slow progress. And most people are trained to want results immediately. We live in a world that rewards speed, fast food, fast entertainment, fast money, fast success. Social media makes this even worse. Every day, people see stories about overnight millionaires, sudden breakthroughs, luxury lifestyles, and instant wins. This creates a dangerous illusion. It makes slow growth look boring, weak, or not worth it. But real wealth is usually built in silence, far away from the spotlight. One of the biggest enemies of compounding is impatience. People start saving. They start investing. They start building better habits. But after a few months, they do not see dramatic results. So, they stop. They quit before the curve starts rising. They judge the strategy too early. This is like planting a seed and digging it up every week just to check if it is growing. Growth needs time. And compounding especially needs uninterrupted time. Another enemy is inconsistency. Many people are motivated at the beginning. They save money for 2 months, then stop. They invest for a short time, then get distracted. They follow a budget until one emotional purchase breaks the whole system. The problem is not always lack of knowledge. Often, it is lack of stability. Compounding does not reward intensity as much as it rewards repetition. Doing a little every month, for years, is far more powerful than doing a lot for 1 month and then quitting. Lifestyle inflation is another major reason people never build wealth. When income increases, spending usually increases too. A person gets a raise, and instead of investing the difference, they upgrade their lifestyle immediately. A better phone, a better car, more eating out, more monthly expenses. They feel richer, but they do not become wealthier. Real wealth is not how much you spend, it is how much you keep, protect, and grow. Fear also destroys compounding. Some people are so afraid of making mistakes that they do nothing at all. They keep waiting for the perfect time, the perfect amount of money, or the perfect knowledge. But while they wait, time passes. And time is the most important ingredient in compounding. Starting late with perfect knowledge is often worse than starting early with a simple and sensible strategy. Then there is the issue of comparison. Many people compare their Chapter 1 to someone else's Chapter 20. They look at wealthy people and feel discouraged because their own beginning seems too small. But wealth is not built by comparing. It is built by continuing. A small portfolio is still a portfolio. A small savings habit is still a habit. A small beginning is still a beginning. Compounding does not laugh at small numbers. It multiplies them. A lot of people also misunderstand effort. They believe that if something feels easy, calm, or boring, then it cannot be powerful. But compounding often feels boring. It does not give constant excitement. It does not always produce visible rewards in the short term. It asks you to trust the process before the rewards become obvious. That is why emotionally driven people often abandon it. They want stimulation, not strategy. The truth is, the wealthy mindset is often quieter than people expect. It is not always flashy. It does not need constant proof. It knows that financial freedom is not created by showing success. It is created by repeating wise decisions, long enough for those decisions to become a system. And that system can be simple. Spend less than you earn, save consistently, invest regularly, avoid unnecessary debt, let time multiply your effort, protect your gains, keep learning. This may sound basic, but basic does not mean weak. In fact, simple rules, followed consistently, are often stronger than complicated plans, followed inconsistently. There is also a hidden lesson here. Compounding works in both directions. Good habits compound, but bad habits compound too. Small debts grow. Bad spending compounds into stress. Procrastination compounds into missed opportunities. Neglect compounds into regret. So whether people realize it or not, everyone is already experiencing compounding. The only question is this: is it helping them, or is it hurting them? This part of the message is powerful because it shifts responsibility back to the individual. You do not need to control the whole future. You only need to control repeated choices. If your repeated choices are strong, time becomes your partner. If your repeated choices are careless, time becomes your enemy. So the reason most people never benefit from compounding is not because the principle failed. It is because they failed to stay with it long enough. They wanted fireworks. But understanding compounding is important. But understanding alone will not change your life. The real power begins when you apply the principle consistently in everyday decisions. The idea of the lazy millionaire becomes practical when you stop seeing money as something you only earn and start seeing it as something you can direct, train, and multiply. The first step is simple. Pay yourself first. Before spending on entertainment, shopping, or random desires, set aside a percentage of your income for your future. This does not need to be a huge amount. What matters most in the beginning is the habit. Even a small percentage creates a new identity. You stop being someone who only spends and become someone who builds. The second step is automation. One reason people fail financially is because they rely too much on willpower. They hope they will save what is left at the end of the month, but usually nothing is left. Automation removes emotion from the process. If money automatically moves into savings or investments every month, then you are no longer negotiating with yourself every time. You make one smart decision once, and the system keeps working. The third step is long-term thinking. Every financial decision should be filtered through one question. Will this help me build freedom later? Or will it only satisfy me for a moment now? This question is powerful because it forces clarity. Not every expense is bad. Not every pleasure is irresponsible. But unconscious spending is dangerous. The lazy millionaire mindset is not about never enjoying life. It is about not sacrificing your future for temporary comfort. Another important step is learning to respect boring investments. Many people are attracted to exciting risks because they want fast results. But chasing excitement often leads to losses, stress, and regret. Sustainable wealth is usually built through patient strategies, not emotional gambles. The goal is not to look impressive for a week. The goal is to become secure for life. A practical way to apply this principle is to think in decades, not days. Imagine two people. One starts investing a modest amount every month at a young age. Another waits years and then tries to invest larger amounts later. In many cases, the person who started earlier, with smaller amounts, wins, because time did more work for them. This is one of the most beautiful truths about compounding. Time can outperform intensity. The lazy millionaire mindset also includes protecting your peace. Financial stress is not only about low income, it is often about poor structure. A person earning a lot can still feel trapped if they have no control, no savings, and no plan. On the other hand, a person with moderate income but strong habits can feel increasingly secure over time. Freedom begins when your money stops disappearing without purpose. There is also a relationship between simplicity and success. Many people make finance harder than it needs to be. They jump between trends. They chase perfect systems. They constantly change direction. But wealth often grows best in stable environments. A few good rules followed for a long time can outperform 100 complicated ideas. Simplicity creates consistency, and consistency unlocks compounding. This principle can also be applied beyond money. If you want better health, begin with one's repeatable habit, or if you want better knowledge, read daily. If you want a better future, make small, responsible choices now. The lazy millionaire is not someone who avoids action. It is someone who understands that the right repeated actions eventually create a life that feels lighter, freer, and less chaotic. That is why the message of this book is bigger than finance. It is really about designing a life where effort today creates ease tomorrow. Instead of constantly starting from zero, you build momentum. Instead of always reacting, you prepare. Instead of depending only on hard labor, you create systems that continue producing value. And perhaps the most encouraging lesson is this: you do not need to be perfect. You do not need to know everything before you begin. You do not need a massive income, a lucky connection, or a brilliant secret. You only need enough humility to start small and enough discipline to continue. That is how ordinary people build extraordinary results, not through magic, not through shortcuts, but through repeated action, smart structure, and time. In the end, the lazy millionaire is not the person who does nothing. It is the person who learns how to do the right things once, set them in motion, and let time carry the weight. That is the real power of compounding.